Hi ladies. Ever wonder what makes a woman truly unforgettable? The kind of woman men don't just date, but stay with, not out of obligation, but because they can't imagine life without her? It's not magic, it's not looks, and it's definitely not luck. It's about presence, energy, a deep sense of self-worth that radiates through everything she does. Here are 10 powerful secrets of a woman men don't leave, from one woman to another. She genuinely loves herself. She doesn't just love the good parts, the parts that win applause or look good in a mirror. She loves all of her, even the version of herself she used to hide. The insecure teenager who tried too hard. The young woman who once begged for attention. The one who stayed too long in places that didn't deserve her. She doesn't erase those chapters, she integrates them. Because every version of her brought her here, to this sacred, rooted womanhood. Loving herself doesn't mean she never doubts, never has bad days, or never cries on the bathroom floor. It means she no longer believes the lie that she's only valuable when she's performing, pleasing, or perfect. It's in how she speaks to herself when no one's listening. It's in how she forgives herself when she messes up. It's how she rests without guilt, celebrates without shame, and grows without apology. She no longer tolerates crumbs, because she knows she is a full-course experience. And she's not afraid to be alone, not because she doesn't enjoy love, but because her peace is her baseline, not a temporary luxury. She sets her own emotional thermostat. If someone brings drama, chaos, or confusion, she doesn't chase or plead. She returns to her own rhythm. That's the thing, she doesn't need anyone to validate her existence. Her worth is not on the auction block, it's already spoken for. When a man meets her, he doesn't feel pressure to save her. Instead, he feels inspired to meet her, as she is. Grounded, radiant, self-owned, and that kind of woman? She doesn't beg anyone to stay. Because she knows, the ones meant for her won't want to leave. She has her own life. She's not waiting to be completed. Her life isn't a placeholder until someone finally decides to love her right. It's already rich, already meaningful. Her calendar is full, not just with obligations, but with joy. She makes time for what feeds her soul. Solo walks at golden hour, messy art that no one sees, books that change her mind, conversations that stretch her spirit. She doesn't apologize for her passions. She doesn't downplay her dreams to make someone else feel comfortable. Whether she's building a business, learning salsa, writing poetry at midnight, or volunteering at a shelter, her life pulses with something beyond romance. Her identity isn't rooted in being someone's girl, it's in being someone's equal. A woman with direction, with essence, with purpose, and that doesn't intimidate the right man, it draws him in. He doesn't feel like her world. He feels lucky to be part of her world. And she's not afraid to do things alone. She takes herself to dinner. She travels solo. She celebrates birthdays without needing a man's hand to hold. Why? Because she trusts her own company. She doesn't just tolerate solitude, she thrives in it. That's what makes her presence feel so different. When she's with you, it's not because she's scared to be alone. It's because she chooses to be there. That choice, that freedom, it changes the dynamic entirely. Her love is not born of dependence. It's born of abundance. She can give fully because she's not running on empty. She doesn't collapse into relationships, she expands within them. And in that expansion, she invites her partner to rise, too. To bring his whole self, just like she brings hers. Because a woman with her own life is not a woman to complete, she is a woman to stand beside. She listens with her heart. She doesn't just nod politely while secretly crafting her response. She's not scanning for flaws in his logic or waiting for a pause so she can make her point. When he speaks, really speaks, she enters the moment with him. Her eyes soften, her posture opens, her breath slows. She listens like what he's saying matters, not because she's trying to win him over, but because she honors the act of sharing truth. In her presence, a man doesn't feel judged or analyzed. He doesn't feel like he's performing to earn emotional approval. He feels safe. And that's something most men rarely get to feel, not with the world, not with their families, sometimes not even with themselves. But with her, he can admit he's scared. He can confess failure. He can speak about the pressure to have it all together, without being shamed for not always living up to it. She doesn't rush to fix things. That's not what true listening is. She knows that sometimes a man doesn't need a solution, he needs to feel seen. And while the world teaches men to suppress, to perform, to endure in silence, she offers him a different experience, one where his humanity is welcomed, not managed. Even in disagreement, she stays present. She doesn't weaponize his vulnerability. She doesn't throw past confessions in his face. Her listening is rooted in love, not leverage. And that makes all the difference. She's not afraid of emotional depth. She can hold silence without panicking. She can sit with his pain without trying to erase it, because she knows that intimacy is not built in loud declarations, it's built in the quiet space where someone feels like they can finally breathe. And because she listens with her heart, he wants to open up. Not just once, but again and again. Because there's no performance in their connection, just truth. And in a world that so often rewards masks, being with her feels like coming home without ever having to knock. She sets clear, loving boundaries. She doesn't slam doors or build walls. She doesn't need to. Her boundaries aren't about keeping people out, they're about keeping herself centered. They're quiet, confident, and unshakable. They don't need justification or explanation. They simply are, like the backbone of someone who finally knows her own value. She says, no, the way others say, please, calmly, without guilt, without over-explaining. Because she understands that protecting her peace isn't selfish, it's sacred. She's learned, often the hard way, that when she says yes to everything, she ends up abandoning herself. And she's done doing that. She will no longer betray her own needs just to be liked. But make no mistake, she's not cold. Her boundaries come with softness, not spite. When she corrects someone, it's not to punish, it's to guide. When she walks away, it's not to hurt, it's to heal. There's a gentleness in how she holds her standards, but don't confuse that for weakness. Her kindness is not currency. Her time is not up for negotiation. Her body, her energy, her heart, these are earned, not owed. She doesn't tolerate manipulation, disrespect, or emotional laziness, not even in small doses. Because she knows how slippery the slope can be. She knows that every excuse made for someone else becomes a quiet betrayal of herself. So she chooses alignment over approval, truth over comfort, integrity over drama. The right man? He doesn't flinch at her boundaries. He doesn't argue, guilt trip, or retreat. He honors them, because he recognizes that her boundaries aren't obstacles, they're road signs. They show him how to love her well. They show him where her softness begins, and where her sacred must be protected. And when he sees how firmly and lovingly she holds herself, it invites him to do the same. That's the beauty of a woman with healthy boundaries. She doesn't just protect her peace, she elevates the entire relationship to meet her there. She's grateful, not entitled. Gratitude isn't just something she remembers on birthdays or holidays. It's woven into her everyday language, her tone, her body language. She says, thank you, for the coffee he brought her, the text he sent to check in, the way he remembers how she takes her tea. Not because she's trying to stroke his ego, but because she sees him, really sees him, and believes that nothing thoughtful is too small to acknowledge. Entitlement says, you owe me. Gratitude says, I see what you gave, and I don't take it for granted. And she lives by the second one. She doesn't treat gestures of love like boxes to be checked. She doesn't scoff when he tries, even if he doesn't always get it right. She meets effort with softness, not criticism. Because she understands the truth most people forget. We all want to be appreciated, not audited. She knows love isn't something you're owed just for existing. It's a gift that people choose to give, day after day. So when someone chooses her, she honors that. And in turn, her partner feels seen, respected, and motivated, not manipulated. Her thank yous carry weight because they're sincere. They don't come with strings attached, expectations layered beneath, or a silent checklist that's being scored in her head. This doesn't mean she lowers her standards or accepts less than she deserves. Not at all, but even when she's asking for more, she does it from a place of respect, not resentment. She doesn't assume his time or energy is hers to control. She invites, she appreciates, and she celebrates the man who shows up, whether it's in small everyday ways or big, meaningful moments. Her gratitude is contagious. It creates a culture in the relationship where both people feel valued, not taken for granted. And that daily rhythm of, I see you, and I'm thankful for you, builds emotional intimacy in a way that no luxury gift or grand romantic gesture ever could. She doesn't play games. There's no hidden agenda with her. No layered subtext. No emotional booby traps that he has to decode. When she's upset, she says so. When she needs space, she asks for it. When she's happy, it shows in her whole body. She doesn't weaponize her silence or make love conditional. She doesn't bait, provoke, or test his loyalty just to feel powerful. Why? Because she's grown past the illusion that games create control. She's not interested in power struggles. She's interested in partnership. She knows that manipulation doesn't create closeness, it creates confusion. And she's not here to be confusing. She's here to be clear. With her, communication isn't a battlefield. It's a bridge. She speaks from self-awareness, not ego. And when emotions run high, she doesn't lash out to win, she grounds herself to understand. She doesn't flirt with jealousy to get his attention. She doesn't disappear for days to punish him. She doesn't leave passive-aggressive breadcrumbs in the hopes he'll figure it out. Because honestly, she doesn't have the time or energy to play emotional chess. She values peace more than pride. She's honest even when it's uncomfortable. She'll tell him, kindly but directly, when something isn't working. And she'll listen, really listen, when he does the same. She holds space for truth, even when it's messy, because she knows that's the only way real intimacy survives. There's a certain kind of power in a woman who doesn't play games, a quiet strength. She's steady, not performative. Safe, not boring. She doesn't chase drama because her nervous system is no longer addicted to chaos. And that's rare. That's healing. In a world where people are taught to guard their hearts by pretending not to care, she chooses vulnerability. She chooses courage, and in doing so, she creates something extraordinary. A love built on trust, honesty, and mutual emotional maturity. Because clarity isn't just kindness, it's magnetic. And drama might create sparks, but only truth can build a fire that lasts. She keeps evolving. She is not a fixed portrait. She is a living, breathing, ever-changing canvas, painted daily in new colors, shaped by experiences, books, conversations, and quiet revelations that no one else sees. She refuses to let herself go stale. She doesn't cling to old versions of who she used to be simply because they once worked. Instead, she welcomes growth with open arms, even when it's uncomfortable. She learns, constantly, sometimes through podcasts during morning walks, sometimes in the silence of her journal at 2 a.m. when the rest of the world is asleep. She invests in her mind the way others invest in appearance. She takes classes, signs up for workshops, travels solo, reads authors who challenge her worldview. Not because she's trying to impress anyone, but because her inner world is where she finds oxygen. She reflects often. She doesn't let her wounds harden into bitterness. She unpacks them, questions them, transforms them. What hurt her last year may not even faze her this year, not because it stopped mattering, but because she is no longer the same woman. Her emotional muscles have grown. Her resilience has matured. She's aware of the seasons in her life. She knows when to hustle and when to rest, when to speak and when to listen, when to reinvent and when to stay still. She's tuned in, not just to trends or culture, but to herself. She knows when her soul needs shaking up, and she doesn't fear reinvention. Haircuts, careers, cities, perspectives, nothing is off limits when her spirit says, it's time. Every year with her feels like reading a new chapter in a beautiful, complex novel. The voice is familiar, warm, rich, unmistakably hers, but the content evolves. She surprises, not for attention, but because she is committed to never becoming emotionally obsolete. Never stuck, never just coasting. And in relationships, this makes her magnetic. Men don't just fall in love with her, they fall in love with her again and again, because she keeps becoming. She keeps unfolding, she keeps showing new layers. She doesn't rely on novelty to stay interesting. She is interested, and that makes her endlessly interesting. Being with her is never stagnant. It's not chaotic, but it's alive. And that vitality, that ongoing evolution, makes her feel like a constant beginning. She brings lightness and play. She isn't heavy to be around. Her presence doesn't drain, it lifts. She knows how to make life feel just a little less serious, not because she's naive, but because she's wise enough to know that joy is a survival skill. She has a gift for turning the ordinary into the delightful, dancing while she cooks, making funny faces mid-argument to break the tension, starting spontaneous pillow fights that erupt into laughter. Her humor is effortless, not forced, not performative. She just has a way of seeing the absurdity in things, and letting herself laugh at it. She giggles in grocery stores. She flirts in traffic. She leaves handwritten notes in the fridge for no reason at all. She kisses with curiosity and says, "Let's do something weird," with the same excitement most people reserve for vacations. She brings fun into the fabric of everyday life. If they're stuck in traffic, she'll put on an embarrassing playlist and start a car concert. If a plan gets cancelled, she'll say, "Good, now we can make up something better." She's not afraid of boredom because she doesn't let things get boring. Life with her doesn't feel like a checklist, it feels like a light breeze on a hot day. Unexpected, welcome, and real. This doesn't mean she's frivolous. She knows when to be serious, when to be deep, when to hold silence, and when to speak truth. But she doesn't live in heaviness. She doesn't let stress define the room. She doesn't spiral in chaos. She steadies herself and looks for the moment of levity. She knows that love doesn't thrive in intensity alone. It needs moments of breath, softness, humor. She plays, not in a childish way, but in a soulful one. She remembers how to be delighted, how to laugh until she can't breathe, how to see the magic in small things. And when a man is with her, he remembers too. He forgets to be guarded. He softens. He laughs more. He lets go. Because in her presence, life doesn't feel like a test to be passed. It feels like something to be enjoyed. She knows when to walk away. She doesn't threaten to leave in the heat of a fight, and she doesn't storm out to make a point. Her decision to walk away is never emotional manipulation. It's quiet, clear, and final. Because when she leaves, it's not impulsive. It's not dramatic. It's the result of 1,000 small self-betrayals she's refused to repeat. She gives grace, but not endlessly. She communicates. She asks for what she needs. She opens the door to growth. But if she's met with patterns instead of progress, silence instead of sincerity, and excuses instead of effort, she knows what to do. And she does it. She doesn't need a man to fall apart to justify her exit. She doesn't wait to be shattered to validate her departure. She recognizes that staying somewhere she's not valued is a high price to pay for the illusion of love. And so she walks, not with bitterness, not with revenge, but with calm self-respect. Her love is deep, yes. Fierce, even, but never blind. She doesn't let her heart make excuses for someone who consistently shows her she's optional. She doesn't rewrite their actions into fiction because the fantasy felt so good. She honors reality, and the reality is this. When someone shows you they don't see your worth, staying won't make them see it, it will only make you forget it. There's a rare kind of dignity in a woman who can say, "I love you, but I love me more." Who doesn't reduce her value to what someone else can or cannot hold? Who doesn't chase closure or cling to potential? She leaves when it's time, not because she's cold or heartless, but because she finally realized that peace is the most powerful form of love she can offer herself. And ironically, it's that woman, the one who's willing to walk, who is often the one men can't bear to lose. Because they sense it. She is not trapped. She is not stuck. She is choosing to be here. And if you give her nothing to hold onto, she won't stay out of fear, she'll leave out of truth. She chooses. She doesn't cling. Her love isn't born of panic or pressure. It's not desperation disguised as devotion. She doesn't need someone to complete her, fix her, or rescue her. She's not holding on because she's terrified of being alone. She's holding on because this is a place where her soul feels at home. That's the difference. She doesn't latch on because she's afraid of letting go. She doesn't confuse attachment with intimacy. She has felt real loneliness before, and she has survived it. Thrived through it, grown from it. So when she loves, it's not because she has to. It's because she wants to. She knows love should never be a prison sentence. It should never be endured out of guilt, fear, or habit. She's been in places where she stayed too long just because the leaving felt too hard, and she's learned from it. Now, she lets love be a choice that is remade each day. Not a burden, not an obligation, but a conscious, ongoing yes. She is not trying to be someone's everything. She is not clinging to a title, a timeline, or a future that only exists in her imagination. She's here, in this moment, with both feet on the ground. And she looks at her partner not with expectation, but with invitation. She invites him to meet her, as an equal, as a witness, as a fellow soul choosing the same path. Because she doesn't cling, she gives space. And in that space, trust grows. A man doesn't feel smothered in her presence, he feels free. Free to show up as he is. Free to exhale, free to rise, not because she needs him to, but because something in her makes him want to. To be chosen by a woman like this is powerful, because it's not a reflex, it's a recognition. She sees him, not just the good parts, but the real ones, and still, she stays. Still, she says, yes. And that kind of yes? It carries weight, it holds value. Because when a man knows he is chosen, not clung to, he doesn't run. He roots, he rises, he stays. So no, it's not about perfection. It's about authenticity. A woman men don't leave is a woman who refuses to leave herself. Perfection is a lie. It's a moving target, a trick mirror that warps no matter how hard you try to fit the reflection. You'll never be thin enough, agreeable enough, sexy enough, sweet enough, silent enough to satisfy the endless expectations of others. But authenticity? That's where the real power lives. That's where your soul finally exhales. The woman who's magnetic, the one who men remember, return to, and feel changed by, she's not flawless. She's real, she's whole, even in her brokenness. She doesn't hide her contradictions, she holds them. Strong and soft, fierce and forgiving, playful and profound, she lets herself be, and that freedom radiates. She doesn't contort herself to earn love. She is the love. She doesn't shapeshift to be more palatable. She stands in her full, glorious complexity and says, this is me. Not perfect, but honest. And the man who is ready for that kind of woman doesn't flinch, he aligns. She stays with herself, through the hard seasons, through the doubts, through the mistakes. She learns to forgive the younger version of her who didn't know better. She thanks the woman who survived what should have broken her. She lets every scar teach her how to stay loyal to her truth, even when the world tells her to shrink. This kind of self-devotion changes everything. It changes how she speaks, how she dates, how she walks into a room. She's not auditioning anymore, she's arriving, and she knows, deep in her bones, that the right person will never ask her to abandon herself to be loved. The right person will meet her in her fullness, and honor it. And if you're not quite there yet, don't worry. This is a journey, a beautiful, wild, healing one. One step, one choice, one boundary at a time. You don't become this kind of woman overnight. There's no switch you flip, no single moment when everything clicks into place. It's a path, winding, messy, sacred. You'll fall back into old habits sometimes. You'll forget your worth. You'll cry over someone who didn't see you. That's okay. That's part of the becoming. Healing doesn't look like constant progress. It looks like practicing grace with yourself when you want to regress. It looks like catching the thought, I'm too much, and whispering back, no, I'm exactly enough. It looks like saying no when your whole body trembles. Like walking away when you still love him. Like holding your own hand on the lonely nights and saying, I've got you. I'm not leaving you again. You will lose people along the way, people who were never meant to walk your entire path. Let them go. You will outgrow places, beliefs, identities that once felt safe but now feel suffocating. Let them fall away. You are not breaking, you are shedding. And every time you choose truth over comfort, you come home to yourself a little more. And one day, quietly, you'll realize, you didn't need to be more perfect, you just needed to be more you. That's the kind of woman no one wants to leave, because she doesn't leave herself. You've got this. Even on the days when you feel unworthy, even when you doubt your progress, even when it feels like you're walking alone, you are becoming the kind of woman who doesn't beg, chase, or settle. The kind who doesn't measure her value by who stays, but by how deeply she stays true to herself. That woman, she's already in you, she's just waiting for permission. So take the next step. Say the next no, speak the next truth, breathe, and keep going. You've got this, completely.